around in the name of religion. But I'd also like to point out that most of, if not all, of the good in society also comes from religion. In terms of like science and like universities and hospitals and things, those were all really based from the institutional religion of Europe. And same with like even the abolition of men, like in terms of slavery.
Mhm.
That was all like northern evangelical Christians who supported that. That was it wasn't like any think tank of secular humanist atheists who wanted the abolition of slavery.
Mhm.
It
All
was like religious people.
all right, cool. So we can say, as far as America goes, right, there were people who were for the abolition of slavery, but the modern evangelical movement came out of the Southern Baptists. The Southern Baptists became the Southern Baptists because of one reason: they wanted to keep slavery. You see what I'm saying? So when
That's
we,
no, that's true. Yeah,
yeah, so like we have to like I'm not doubting that. Yeah, there were religious people who wanted to who were all about, getting rid of slavery and everything like that. Yeah, that is true. But when it comes to the reason why I use that as an example, because it shows that religion in of itself doesn't necessarily lead you to a moral outcome, especially socially. You see me? Because we see that the Southern Christians were all about keeping slavery, and the Northern Christians were not. You see what I'm saying? So it's always up to interpretation, which is why like mixing government with religion is it leads to bad results. But as far as, excuse me, universities go, yeah, the universities of Europe, yeah, because basically at that time, European countries are all basically theocracies, right? But they still had to learn things. So yeah, sure, a lot of the churches were funding like these universities for scholars and scholarship and everything like that. But we also saw issues where when people found out things that were going against the church, the most famous example is Galileo. They were always like, stopped from doing that. You know what I mean? A lot of progress was stopped because it went against church beliefs. You feel me? So I do understand the advantage that religion had, especially with building ancient societies, because if we're all in this society here, how we are gonna agree to live with each other than just having empathy with each other, having a common culture, which means like building the culture around a certain god or gods, is a good way to do that. So that was the advantage of religion back then. But nowadays, I just don't see the advantage of it.
yeah, I completely understand. I think that's the fear I have is I think I don't see what unites Americans outside of religion. Like on the progressive left side, I see. And granted, I see this on the right as well, but especially on the progressive left, I see a ton of infighting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go as far left as you can go on progressive, or let me backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say like the most influential um, philosophies that have been devised that are absent religion,
Mm-hmm.
I find to be some of the most detestable. And even honestly, most left people would agree with this, um, except on the far left. Like, for example, the first, probably most famous philosophy that came outside of religion that had a lot of power in the world was communism and Marxism,
Mm-hmm.
which most people, and I'm hoping you agree, recognize that as a serious evil, just the same way fascism is. It's a pretty vocal minority who say that Marxism is good and stuff. I think they're kind of just they're not representative of the left. They're just their own kind of fringe people. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, like communism and Marxism seem to me to be one of the most evil things in the world. And then you even mentioned it. Then next we had like the sexual revolution. That's like the next big thing that happened absent of religion,
Mm-hmm.
which has been an absolute disaster for just even basic society. I think the basic unit of society is the family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's completely destroyed family dynamics.
Okay. Well, let's back up to the first thing you said when it came to Marxism. Marxism, as far as, because I've read Das Kapital, right? Marxism, as far as I see, is simply an analysis of society and analysis of the structure of society, and basically prescribing how to build a better one. What's immoral about
Right.
that? Because Marx actually did point out a lot of things that are actually true, right? For example, Would you say that the Black Panthers were immoral?
I think it's hard to generalize, but I think a lot of them were. Yeah, I think probably some of them weren't.
Yeah, sure. I mean, some people in Congress are immoral, right? Like that doesn't mean Congress in of itself is immoral, but there are immoral people in there. There's gonna be immoral people in every group. But
Yeah,
as
yeah,
far as
no,
what
you're
the
right.
yeah, but as far as what the Black Panthers wanted to do, like what they were saying, was any of that immoral?
I would be speaking on my butt if I had an opinion because I don't know exactly what their whole philosophy was.
Okay,
I know they were like black, going for civil rights and stuff, but as
right.
far as I've heard too, they were Marxists
They
and
were
actually black separatists. Some of them.
they were Marxists, exactly. But like the thing is, what the Black Panthers wanted to do, they had a 10 point plan, right? What they wanted was self determination for Black people. What they wanted was freedom and liberty for Black people. What they wanted was essentially the end to political imprisonment of Black people. None of those things seem immoral, right?
Yeah, no.
Right. Now, the reason why they actually analyze society in that way is that they use Marxism. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't, if they felt that Marxism was the best way to analyze society because it actually analyzes like not only profit motive but how society structures itself. You see what I'm saying? Who has power, who is profiting off of who, et cetera, et cetera. So what the Black Panthers did, they looked at it and they said, okay, society puts Black people on the bottom and uses our talent and our labor in order to profit themselves, and that should not be the case. Like that's what they use through the Marxist lens. You see what I'm saying? So when people usually say that Marxism is immoral, I always point out that Marxism is simply an analysis of society, how things are structured. You feel me? Now you can say communism is immoral, but at the end of the day, communism is basically a classless, moneyless society. You can say that it's a pipe dream. I've heard that before, but having a classless, moneyless society, is that exactly immoral, or is it something that you just don't think could happen? And if you think it's just something that you don't think could happen, sure, but immoral
No,
is
I
kind of a
think it
stretch.
is. I think there is something inherently immoral. I mean, maybe in the terms of the end goal of communism being a classless, moneyless state and stateless society,
Hmm.
then I think maybe that's not immoral. Like in my opinion, as a religious person, that's what heaven is a classless, moneyless, stateless society. So I think
Exactly.
on that front, it's not necessarily immoral, but I think the prescriptions on how to get there are extremely immoral. I mean, I was just reading a book called A Gentleman in Moscow, right? And it's this person in Moscow who was um, basically deemed an aristocrat
Hmm.
um, by the state, and he was sentenced to home imprisonment. And the book is sort of written from his lens of like seeing how society is shaped
Hmm.
by communism from his home. He's overlooking the Kremlin and things like that. And things that, like, the Soviet Union was an extremely immoral nation.
Hmm.
Um, any example that's what is sort of frustrating to me is people who argue in favor of communism. It's almost like there's a level of gaslighting going on
Hmm.
because they'll say things like, "Well, communism's never been truly tried."
Brother,
Right.
can
Well, then what can I point
can he
to even
can he hear
evaluate
what's can he
its
hear what I'm saying?
its worth?
Hold on. Give me 1 second, Thomas. Hey, Chad,
Yeah.
give me a few moments, Chad. All right, I'm on the phone with Thomas now, and I'll get to you right afterwards. All right, Chad. All right. So, yeah, Thomas, I got you. Yeah, that is something that a lot of communists say, right? Where they say, oh, the USSR wasn't truly communist because they never got to the end goal. However, they like Stalinism is a form of communism. It just is. Like Marxism, not Marxism, but Stalinist. I'm not Stalinist. I'm sorry. Marxist Leninism is a form of communism, and Leninism is basically a vanguard party where we're the party that's going to go ahead and move society forward. Yeah, I mean that's basically governance as a state. So yeah, sure. Like it does annoy me sometimes when people say, "Oh, that wasn't quote unquote truly communist because of this, that, and the third." Right? Right? So it's like, nah, they were communists. Stalin was a communist. As a matter of fact, that's why there's a lot of infighting within communism because, like, how I said Marxism is an analysis of society. That means it has to be applied to your conditions, and when you apply it to your conditions, you're going to get different ideologies. Which is why, like, over in China, even though they're on paper a communist state, You see that they still have a market, they still have capitalism and everything like that, right? Because they're applying communism to their material conditions. You see what I'm saying? So that's why there's a lot of infighting on the left about it, because you got the Trotskys, the Maoists, you got the Stalinists. There's people who are Stalinists. I'm telling you the truth. That's kind of crazy, right? So that's where you get all that from. Now, I would actually agree with you. The USSR under Stalin was a pretty immoral state because he was a megalomaniac, right? Now, is that the only way to do communism? Obviously not, because you have China, right?
Right, but China, like Mao Zedong's push for communism, was one of the most evil things in history too. Vietnam, one of the most evil things. Cambodia, one of the most evil. Venezuela, one of the most evil. It's like everywhere that communism appears, it is a completely evil society.
So it's capitalism. So does that mean that people are just evil?
No, I think capitalism is a lot less evil. I actually agree that capitalism is evil, but I think it's does not create the type of atrocities that communism has created.
What, slave trade?
Yeah, the slave trade I don't think is nearly as evil as what Stalin did or what Mao Zedong did. I think it's evil. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, not at the same magnitude.
So 12 million people being ripped from their homeland and having to create an entirely new people group and culture, and essentially being genocided away from who they are. That's not as evil as Mao fucking up on farming techniques. Like I'm not sure if we can go that far.
No, but like Mao killed like 80 million people, and like Stalin killed like 60 million people.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just saying the
like,
magnitude isn't the same.
right, Mao's policies, with his Great Leap Forward, they were screwed up policies, right? But he just didn't take 80 million people and personally throw them into the grinder.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
But
So
even with slavery, it's not like we just stole people from Africa either.
no, that's
I
exactly what it
mean,
was. Yeah, I mean it was deals. Yeah, sure, it was trade deals, but like, yeah, that's what they were doing. They were stealing people. Yeah, and they were stealing people. They were when a lot of these African societies started to fight back and say they don't want to and engage in this anymore. They did start stealing them essentially.
yeah, well, yeah. I'm not going to sit here and defend slavery. I'm against
Right,
slavery
right, right. I know,
personally.
I know.
So,
Yeah, yeah, of
but
course, I know. No, no, of
I'm
course,
just
I know.
saying,
I'm not saying that you are.
yeah,
All right.
I think everywhere that communism appears, it's extremely evil. And so, okay, let's just say
Mhm.
that capitalism is too. Then, but why are we supporting either then? Like, why is it because capitalism is also evil that communism is given an out? Why couldn't we just say that they're both extremely evil?
Yeah, because the thing is, here's what I would say. Capitalism in of itself has a good idea, right? Or capitalism in of itself has a what I would say has an idea that we think it you know how people say communism is utopian, right? I think capitalism also has a
Yeah,
utopian idea where basically everyone's going to act in their rational self-interest. But the key word there is rational. You know what I mean? And human beings can sometimes not be rational. So like I think it has a good like ideal, but it's utopian. You feel me? So I wouldn't call the idea in of itself evil. It's the way that it's put into place. But unfortunately with capitalism, the way that it's put into place is always going to lead to some sort of exploitation because the idea is to make the profit. Human beings are not part of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
yeah,
more people tend towards socialism, because in socialism you can make a profit, but not at the expense of human beings. You see what I'm saying? So that's really the difference, which is why I call myself a socialist more than a communist, because in communism I was not sure how it would work. Yeah, I mean that's the only reason why. Or I'm not an anarchist because I'm not sure how that'll work. You know what I'm saying? But socialism,
yeah.
I'll call
The
myself a
whole
socialist
idea
because
of
I know how that would
yeah,
make sense.
I actually agree with you, but I would say the exact same thing about communism. Like, it's a utopian ideal with an inherently flawed
People,
start.
yeah, yeah, like people are
People,
flawed.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the whole idea is like from each according to their ability to each according to their need.
Mhm.
But the problem is humans are greedy. and that's not going to be the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only way to keep that mantra alive is by enforcing it, which is exactly what happens in communist states.
Mm-hmm.
They take people's things and force them to live by that mantra when people don't want to live by that,
Mm-hmm.
which becomes extremely evil very quickly.
Right, right. Exactly. Yeah, I could get that concern, right? Um, so I get that concern, which is why I've always said, how exactly do we get to a stateless society? Now, as far as people being, excuse me, as far as people being like just naturally greedy, the thing is, as human beings, we used to live in societies that we all just kind of worked together, right? We had equal labor, equal leadership, and then after that, we had sexual division of labor, and that's how what led to our modern society today. So we lived in separate societies that what we're talking about, that communism wants to get to the end goal to, is just that how exactly does that happen now? Because these is thousands of years of human development. How exactly do we get to go back to what we had in prehistory? Is that even possible? So I do get the concern of where you're coming from. You know what I mean? In order to do that, sometimes people got to be forced, right? And is that it? Wouldn't that like lead down the path of tyranny? Yeah, sure. Like that. That's a concern. And communists themselves talk about this all the time. How do we do this without tyranny becoming a problem? And over in our capitalist society, how do we do what we want to do without oligarchies becoming a thing? Because in every single capitalist society, there's oligarchs. You see what I'm saying? So what do we do now? There's always ways to figure these out and talk about it. It's just that I don't really brush anything off as evil. I always say that the practice and the end result can become evil. We are at 15 minutes though, Thomas. Is okay? I'll move on to somebody else.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking.
Not a problem. I appreciate you. All right, guys. I do appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and keep hitting those likes, y'all. We've been on for about 20 minutes, and we're at about 1,000 likes. That is unacceptable, y'all. Let's hit those likes. Let's get it popping. Over on the Deconstruction Junction. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all being here on Decon Junction. On my own channel, Volcy Thoughts. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all being here as well. All right, y'all. Chad, how's it going, Chad? Are you at least 18, and did you want to talk to me about what I had on the board?
Yes, brother, I'm over 18. I'm here taking a hard life easy, brother. I ain't gonna hold you.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I want to talk about, especially what the brother was talking about, evil with the rise of evil within the societies, both present and past.
Mm-hmm.
I find it's a very peculiar thing when we operate within a society which doesn't have its own self-regulation, and the people themselves that are in power do not have any way of regulating their own power or viewpoints, because they're only people there that are that understood the game of power and the danger in which they're operating within that social circle.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you have one person there which is completely um, isolated from any other way of thinking, and also being influenced by private powers that also have their own reasonings behind what they are trying to push, is the moment where there is danger, because there's nobody there who can suggest other alternatives or other metrics, because might makes right, and that's always been the case throughout history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So give me hold on. Give me a second, Banksy. So Chad, do you agree with what I have on the board, or you disagree?
um I'm gonna say I'm not a person who supports leftists or rightists. I don't care what the left or the right, because they're both the sides of the same coin. What I care about is the coin. What side of that coin is proposing ideologies and ideas that can better support and change the environment in which we exist in today? So I don't care about the left or the right. I care about the coin, the whole.
Okay.
Because
And
the moment we separate the two sides is the moment that we don't understand or believe in the duality in which we exist in, and that's the danger.
yeah, we live in a duality. I'm not gonna deny that, right?
Well said.
Hey, hold on, Banksy. I gotta mute you real quick, but I'll be right back with you. All right. Let me
I
just.
disagree.
I got you. I'll talk to you in a second. Let me just talk to Chad first. All right. All right. So, Chad, this is what I would say, because you brought up something very, very important. who is actually bringing up policies or ideas that can change our material conditions. And for me, that's the left, as far as America goes, because we believe in things like parental leave, meaning that when a mother and a father have a child, they get to spend their time with that child at least 6 months, raising them and nurturing them, etc. You feel what I'm saying? That'll be good for childcare. We believe in things like universal education, so when that child does become like 4 or 5 years old, the parents can put them in pre-K and not have to necessarily shell out thousands of dollars a month in order for in childcare, and therefore that causes people to either not have children or be stressed out with their child care and have to spend more and always living paycheck to paycheck. We believe in things like single payer. You know what I'm saying? So when people, hold on, we believe in things like single payer. So like, for people to go get their health checked up all the time and anytime that they need to. You see what I'm saying? So these are some of the policies that, and public transportation, nuclear power, that's something I believe in, environmental protections. All these are things that would make society better for human beings, which is why I believe in them. As far as America goes, these are considered leftist. Now, as far as the rest of the world, this is regular. But here in America, these are leftist policies, which is why I say they're better for society.
That's that's interesting. I mean, maybe it's because of the dynamic between the leftist and the rightist movement in America, and because they're so, it's almost like because it's the two extremes are being pushed to such a level, right? It's that lack of understanding. So I get why I say leftist policies are better, but there are also, we have to acknowledge, there are also some extremist policies which are being pushed from the left, which I believe is because of the co-opting of the movement to push the extremist notions,
Okay, what are some
right?
of those extremist notions you think are coming from the left?
Um, the whole idea of, I don't wanna those people, you know what I mean, and
Who's
these
those people? Who you talking about?
so-called A movements.
The A
Let me
movements. What
get
are you
this.
talking
I'm not aware of the situation. I don't know if you're right or the left is the one pushing those A policies. You know what I mean? The AY and the gender transformation and stuff like that. I don't know which side is pushing that.
about? Oh, you talking about like the LGBTQ people community?
Yeah, I'm not sure which side is pushing that.
I mean, there is no side pushing it. These are just people who live. So just let them live.
No, but there is one side I'm sure of which is pushing it more than the other, and that's why we had the whole election thing, Kamala and Trump.
I mean, yeah, because
So I
people.
think it was,
What I think is what what's happening is that people actually don't understand it. They think that it's being pushed. But nothing's being pushed. It's just that transgender people exist. Let them live.
no, I don't think
Yes.
it's not being pushed because let me explain. If it's in schools and they're making dictionary about it and they're funding opportunities for people to change from an early age without actually letting them know of the reality in which they exist in, then we have to understand it is being pushed to a certain extent.
So
And there's
you're
a reason why I'm gonna say it's being pushed to a certain extent.
okay. Let me
You
understand.
see,
Hold on. Wait.
every single
Let me understand what you mean. So you're saying that people should not know, or children should not know that these people actually exist.
no, I'm not saying that.
Okay, so
What I'm talking
what's
about
going on in
is look,
right, I got you. So
what they do.
what's going on in schools, because I've actually read some of these curriculums, is that they're simply saying that these people exist. That's it. What's the problem?
I'm not saying that. But the thing is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, right? Personally,
Okay.
that you see, since it's being pushed because it's actually being done within the schools, that they're pushing these books and dictionaries to children under a certain age. I think personally it should be the incentive of every single parent to teach their children about sexual education personally on that level so they can be comfortable with it, right? And there's a reason why I say that because no matter what, there are children who are going to be push this idea and they're very, what should I say, they're very impressionable. And if you don't want your child to be raised up by certain values, because every single parent has their own values in their household in which they would like to push their child. And the indoctrination which is being pushed is this. They exist. But yes, the child herself or himself should be able to understand it. Right? The parents should teach them so they can have a better understanding of where the parents are and what they want to be.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
No, that's all good and well, but what I'm saying is that what you're what you're proposing is kind of, you think that people like parents are just going to be telling their children this or giving them correct information. A lot of times we see that's not the case. So what happens then? What happens if they give them like incorrect information, or they tell them that these people do not exist, or even worse, they tell them those people are a danger to them? You know what I mean? What happens then?
Uh,
Because like as because hold on, what we've
let's look at the
let me just explain this. That's been the case before. You see what I'm saying? So that's been the case before. This is what parents told them. People usually assume that parents are the most rational people out there. They're not going to teach their kids anything, that's ridiculous. But that's not true. Like, I've gone to high school with people who thought that holding hand and kissing got you pregnant. We know that's not true. That's why, because that's what their parents told them. You see what I'm saying? So it's like your parents don't always give you correct or good information. You see what I'm saying? So like, what do we do about it then? That's why the school is always like talking about this type of stuff, because a lot of times parents really don't give good information. They give either bad information, biased information, or at worst, dangerous information.
All right, that's a very good point. But the whole reason why the parent would say, "Hey, is holding hand," is because maybe the situation in which a parent is in at home, the parent got caught doing something and say, "Hey, there's like a fib," and that fib was never corrected. You know what I mean? That implementation of that idea in the child's mind was not corrected to the reality. And that's why the child came to school with that notion, thinking that holding hands is what gets you pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, the parent did not want them to understand. He said, "I can tell you this, so that I can supersede the notion of what you see. So you won't believe your eyes, but believe what I tell you." And that's why I said that it's good to have the parents give the information, so the information is provided to the parents. So the books are provided to the parents. The
Mm-hmm.
knowledge is provided to the parents. But other than that, we can also talk about the religious situation, which impacts parents' mind and also which might have them stigmatized or biased towards that. But I don't feel that's a bad thing. I don't feel that's a bad thing. And why is it? If you're growing up in your parents' home, no problem. You can have your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
At a later date, when you become awakened to the world, you will open up to what the truth about the world is and your own stance upon it. Because it's only after the protection of the shell of indoctrination from both your parents and school breaks, when you're out in the world and testing these theories out in the world and seeing it and witnessing it for yourself, you shall awaken to become your own person. So it doesn't matter if your parents are religious or politically influenced.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out there, those theories will be put to the test and you can awaken for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just that the issue with what you're saying is that that has a tangible effect on society, right? If you have a whole bunch of people out there who are misinformed, that's going to really have a negative effect on what's going on in with our people, right? Like we see that in society right now, where a lot of grown adults are barely reading above a sixth grade level. You see what I'm saying? So we need to have the correct information out there, and sure, we can have a discussion on what's best for the parents and the teachers and everything like that, and have them work together, right? That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the parents to work together with the teachers. I think the issue is that the parents don't want their children to learn certain things like at all, and that causes issues later on in the when they go into the work market, because they're completely misinformed and don't know how to interact.
All right, we can say that the problem is interaction, but I don't think the problem is interaction. The problem itself is between the relationship between parents, students, information, and also the wider society, which the system benefits of the lack
Mm-hmm.
of information being provided, benefits of the lack of proponents, and the lack of cohesion between the community members, and then therefore this is what happens. I'm living in Jamaica. I've been raised in Jamaica all my life. I went to the US maybe last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's something I've seen, right? There's an active, I don't know what to call it. There's an active force. You know what I mean? Active mindset within people in America and even here in Jamaica, which prevents them from working together. You know, there are these, let me put it out there, secret societies. There
Mm-hmm.
are these problems, but the thing is that's not getting solved because if you are a part of something that lets you benefit and I don't benefit from that because you benefiting is based upon me not benefiting, then therefore, what's the reason that we need to work together? It's not gonna make sense.
Hmm.
It's not gonna make sense
Right, right.
because your standpoint is that because you're a part of the in group and I'm a part of the out group, you're gonna prevent the person from a part of the out group from
From
joining the in
succeeding.
group. And
Yeah.
if I
So
refuse
that.
to join the in group,
Mhm.
then you're gonna want me not to succeed.
No, no. I
So that's the
actually
problems that you face.
no, 100%. There's a
And
huge issue when
it
it.
stems from just the top. It's from the bottom too because you're
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna hold out. I'm waiting my turn,
Mhm.
nigga.
Yeah.
Why
No,
am I
I
gonna let you come in here?
no, no, no. I got you. I understand that, right? But like that's what like when it comes to over on the left, when we talk about the reason why that exists is because there's a mindset in society, just like how you said, that's structural where if you win, I lose. It's basically a zero sum game. Like if you gain something, I'm losing something, and that's a big issue in our society. But what teaches that the most is capitalism, because capitalism teaches that you have to profit. You need to make some money. There's only going to be winners and losers. It's not we all work together for the betterment of all of us. Is I need to win and for another person to lose. Um, and that's a big problem with our mindset of society. We need to get back to community, and us all working together pushes everybody forward. You see what I'm saying? That's what we need to get back to.
All right.
But
I don't think that the issue is working together. Cause there's no problem really working together. You want to know what the real problem is? Understanding between individuals. I need to be able to accept the next person for who he is. Not everybody wants to be rich.
mhm,
Everybody doesn't want to be rich. Everybody doesn't want to have the billionaire mindset.
correct.
Everybody
Some
doesn't
people
want
just
to
want to
have
live life. Yeah, people just want to live life and be content. That's true.
that's normal life.
Mhm.
But the thing is, we're in this zero sum game where because I was shitting on, I have to get it on. And I don't need you winning. You see, if people understand, like, say for instance, you have this brother
Mhm.
who just likes smoking, drinking, having a decent little house, and having a car to drive in. That's simple. That's simple. That's humanism and socialism. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be this rich means that concept is not there. We can have that within capitalism. But the problem is the people within capitalism understand as long as the unity isn't there and there's a lack of understanding, it shall always be war between different people. And not to mention religion also pushes this as well. It doesn't help negate it because the ideas of where I'm supposed to be able to understand you as my fellow brethren, love thy neighbor, is not being pushed
Mhm.
because that's not necessary in a state where capitalism is the head, even within that. And even when the brother was talking about religion and communism, these systems were never evil. The problem is not the systems, the people with lack of understanding that we place in these systems, in the meritocracy, which we place in these systems,
Mhm.
right? The elitism in which we place in these systems, and then therefore bring us bad results. The bad results isn't from the systems,
Mhm.
it's from the people who are almost like kings within the systems. So people realize that when I get to a certain position, you can't talk to me,
All right. Shout out to the
right?
TBV rate. I appreciate the TBV rate, y'all. Trust but verified. I appreciate y'all coming back over here to raid me. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that a lot. All right. Um, so yeah, the issue is like, yeah, people are not willing to work together anymore because everybody thinks that they need to win one over the other and not try to understand each other, right? Now, the thing is, I appreciate you saying that, but the issue is that you also said before about people are pushing the whole trans agenda thing. That's not trying to understand somebody else if you think that them existing is some sort of agenda.
No, I didn't say it was some sort of an agenda. All right. Every single movement which has been initiated by anybody ever,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be the Black Panthers, the LGBTQ movement, the hippie movement, the peace movement, I don't know if you recognize that they've been co-opted and pushed to the extreme to make sure that no semblance of benefit can be found out of the movement after a certain time. And that's the issue I
Of
have a
course.
problem with, right? These movements must be co-opted because any form of freedom within a corruption-based society will be problematic for those who want to remain in control, for those who
Mm-hmm.
benefit of the people being blind. The
That is
same way,
correct. That
the
is
same way
correct. No,
in a world of the
that is correct.
blind,
It always gets co-opted by capitalists. Yeah, that is correct.
they say in a world of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? The one-eyed man would be those who are ruling because they can turn a blind eye to certain things, accept certain things, but also see certain things. The man who has two eyes must be an enemy. Right, so there will be no more revolutionaries. Anybody remaining now within society that's not speaking about certain things, it isn't because they don't want to speak about certain things. It's because they cannot speak about certain things within the society without having a problem because they recognize it. It's not that the revolution won't be televised. There will be no revolution. Revolution is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Revolutionism is dead. I believe it in the 21st century, 2025. Revolutionism is dead because capitalism has surpassed the ability for anyone to be revolutionary.
Yeah.
Right? So if you even say, I'm going to work within the system to make the system better, you're still going to work against the people who are suffering while you're in the system. So it's like, which one are you going to do? Are you going to try to work against the system within the system and get fought by those who are benefiting from the system and those who are being beaten down by the system? So
Or,
it's
or,
a two-sided blade.
or what we can do, or we can what we can do is that we can go ahead and get rid of the entire system in the first place.
Can't be done. The system, again, the system is not the problem. It's those within the system that create the division that the system thrives on. The system thrives on lack.
Mm-hmm.
It thrives on lack of understanding, lack of resources, lack of unity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not the system. It's the people within the system.
No,
Right?
and
It
and what
thrives on that.
and what and what incentivizes the people? What incentivizes the people within the system to act that way?
What incentivizes the people within the system is
Yeah.
shared
What I'm saying
trauma.
is, I actually,
Trauma.
what I was gonna
It's
say is this.
trauma.
Actually, what I was gonna say is this: the system in of itself incentivizes those people to act that way because the system profits off of their trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
trauma. So
Right.
I was
It is
sure that
trauma. I agree with
I
that.
don't take no disrespect if I ever think you disrespecting me, nigga.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
All right. So,
if 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 if
Chad,
if,
Chad,
if
Chad,
I don't want
hold on,
nobody to think I'm poor.
Chad, hold on,
Like
hold on.
it's trauma.
Chad, I got you. I got you. All right, but Chad, we are at 15 minutes, so I do got to go ahead and move on. But I appreciate you being up here. All right. Good conversation,
For
bro.
sure, man. You know those live bombing passing through this, man. It's been a
Appreciate you.
great chopping it up with you.
Of course,
Thank you,
of course.
man.
Thank you so much, my Caribbean brother. Appreciate you. All right, guys. I do appreciate all y'all being here. Okay, so RRPHP, you always here. PHP is always here, and he hardly ever comes up. I have my fan PHP is in the comments, y'all. So he hardly ever comes up. He hardly ever comes up, but he always got something to say. So like, let me go. Let me hold on, y'all. Let me do this real quick. All right. I had to stop the stream on one of them because unfortunately it was buffering. So, but all right. So PHP, go ahead and come on up if you'd like to come up because he's always here, always saying something, always got something to say, but never wants to come up. Hey, Tahir, how's it going, Tahir? I appreciate you being there. All right, so the Trust But Verified rate, I do appreciate y'all. I gotta be on Trust But Verified's live, like one of these days. It's like every time Trust But Verified goes live, I'm always at work or something. You know what I mean? Or he's going on like really late, so it's like I'm with wifey or I'm doing something else, so I can't be there. So that's always what sucks. But I'm gonna be on Trust and Verified's live one of these days. I'm gonna catch it. Hopefully, I'm not at work that day and I could be on it. Xenon, how's it going, Xenon? Hey, I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm just waiting on calls, waiting on somebody to come up. Over on the YouTube section, I hope I'm not buffering anymore. But if y'all are there, if y'all see this live, I do have the call-in number right up there, so you guys can call in. Over here on TikTok, you can also request. And I appreciate y'all. All right. Shout out to Deconstruction Junction. I appreciate y'all keeping the conversation going. Shout out to my own live Volcy thoughts. I appreciate y'all keeping the comments going. So go ahead and call in if you run into this live. Here's the call-in number right here. I appreciate y'all. All right. So we go ahead and move on to our next guest, Mr. Real. Real, how's it going, Real? Are you at least 18? And do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes.
All right, great. I do believe that leftist policies are better for society. Why do you think? Why not? Or do you need me to explain which policies I'm talking about?
Is your microphone XLR or USB?
I think it's USB.
Okay, I've been looking at buying the same one. I think it's like $60 on Amazon.
Yeah, for fine.
Like
Yeah,
how do you like it?
Yeah, for
It
fine
sounds
is
pretty good.
it's pretty good. Yeah, for fine is about $60 on Amazon. Right now I'm on TikTok Studio on my computer, so it connects straight to the computer, and it sounds amazing. It sounds really good. For you to do it on your phone, you have to have like a certain connection for it. It's a lot, but I can tell you what to do. But anyway, yeah. So you disagree with that leftist policies are better for society? Why so?
No, I don't disagree. I just want to say that.
Oh, okay, cool, not a problem. But yeah, this is a fine microphone. It can connect to the computer, and for it to connect to your phone, you need a certain adapter. I could probably just inbox you the adapter. Just follow me, inbox me, and I'll let you know what adapter to buy. All right,
Okay. All right.
no
Have a
problem.
nice night.
You too. Appreciate you. All right, guys. So go ahead and come on up if you disagree. If you come across this stage, but you cannot send a request, you can always call in the number. I did have a call in earlier today. And yeah, again, I appreciate you all being here. I do apologize that I'm buffering over on YouTube. Over on YouTube, if you see that I'm buffering, let me know. I'll try to get things better. But I do appreciate y'all being here. All right. All right, guys. So go ahead and keep on. All right, let's go ahead and bring up this person. Listen, if you if on in the comments you say something like, you're stupid, or leftist policies do this, that, and the third, I'm just gonna invite you up. Or if you say something about Biden, I'm gonna invite you up as well, because my thing says nothing about Biden. All right, got another call.
Call from
Ronnie.
Ronnie, how's it going? Can I get your age, please?
Yeah, it's 26.
Alrighty, I believe that leftist policies are better for society. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I do.
All right, why so?
I think with some specific ones, I disagree with. I think in general, some of them are good. I'm wondering, immigration. What do you think?
Immigration. What about it?
I just think that the number of people we have in the country right now. I'm wondering your thoughts on that. I think I didn't during Biden's term.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I heard a lot of news that there were 20, 30 million people coming into the country. I want to know your thoughts on that.
I don't really care, and I don't think that's actually true. I think that was over exaggerated. They never actually showed that 30 million people, or the number that they were quoting. It wasn't even people who were permanent. They were adding people who were visiting the country, being tourists and shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, America gets a lot of people because we get a lot of tourists, right? I think New York City
Right.
just last year had 7 million people. They were adding that into the 30 million. So it's when you see stuff like that happening, you can't really trust who it's coming from.
I wonder. I mean, even that number to me still seems pretty inflated. 30 million, whatever the number was, seems higher than what it probably is. But even so, I just don't know as a country how we can afford that. I mean, even if it's 10 million, even if it's 5 million, who, when they go to the hospitals, who pays for this, for their medical care? Who, as a country, I just don't know how can we afford to kind of support that number of people. I'm kind of curious on your thoughts.
Yeah, well, from what I find out, that immigrants are actually give into the system as much as they take out, right? It's a complicated picture, because federally they're a net benefit. They expand the tax base. A lot of them work through a ITN number, which means that they're going to be paying taxes. So they add to the tax base. Now on a state level, yeah, sure, there could be some drawbacks there because of, or when we say drawbacks, I mean, excuse me, the state budget goes into the red because you have more undocumented, but that's not just undocumented, that's documented too. That's legal and illegal. Having them more of them has a more of a negative effect on the budgets of states, because they're going to school, they may be using social services, things like that, but that's offset by the federal taxes coming in. You see what I'm saying? So it's more of a complicated picture than just they're taking up all the resources. The problem isn't really immigrants. It's the fact that a lot of these social services that we have are underfunded, which is why I think we should change the way we do social services in the first place.
So wait, let me come back to that. So you're saying we should fund some of these services more? Is that right?
Yeah, because a lot of these social services are actually underfunded. Like, for example, the way that schools are funded is through property taxes, but that's always going to become an issue, right? Because the places where they're have a higher income are gonna have good schools, and the places that are lower income, the schooling is going to be pretty terrible.
Right, makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, what about the services like I think the ones like that I see on the news are like it's like SNAP and welfare, whatever it might be, like those things. You're saying as well should also be funded more.
We should change the entire way that we do it. You know what I mean? Because like SNAP kind of promotes dependency. That's something that the right actually the right has all conservatives have always says that SNAP breeds dependency, right? Or encourages dependency. They're right in a wrong way. And it's I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain it like this. They're right that it does encourage dependency, but they're wrong that social services in of themselves is what's causing that dependency. Like this, it tells people just to not have a job and be lazy. That's not really what it does, right? Because to get on SNAP, there are job requirements, especially in a state like mine. I live in Florida, right? So we require job requirements. You can only be on it for a couple of years before you can never be on it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. There's a lot of requirements you have to go through in order for you to get SNAP. But what does that cause? That causes people who see that if I get this new job, but that the income from that job is still not enough for me to get the groceries that I need, I'm just not going to take the raise, or I'm just not going to take the new job. I'm going to stay in this job in order for me to get the money and build myself up until I can finally be off of it, right? So it delays a lot of social mobility, or it causes social mobility to even stifle. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say that the way that we do social services is just like not a good idea the way that we do it. In my opinion, even though this sounds crazy to a lot of people, even to a lot of people who tend to be liberal, I think the way that social services should work is just give people the money, no questions asked. Whoever needs the social services, go ahead. If you're under certain under certain like tax bracket or under certain poverty line, just give them the money. Yeah, I mean, if they go ahead and blow it on coke and hookers, they blow it on coke and hookers. You're fucked, buddy. But most people, from what we've seen, when we actually done pilot programs of like universal basic income, I think they did it in Georgia and California. They gave people $1,000 a month, no questions asked. Here's the money. What they found out is that people went back to school. People were able to get better housing. People were able to get jobs. Some people even started volunteering more for overtime, because if they do overtime and they get $1,000, there's even more money in their pocket in order for them to do. So it's a lot better than what we have now, which is means tested, et cetera, et cetera. But every pilot program that we did, where we just gave people UBI, just gave you the money, no questions asked, and you do whatever you want with it, it's always been positive outcomes. They've always gone back to school, gotten better jobs, or worked more. Or even if they quit, they would spend their time with children or looking for better jobs. That's what they would do.
I hear you. I think it's tough though. Like when you look at your paycheck, whatever it is, bi-weekly, and you see those taxes coming out, and then you go on Twitter, you go on the news, and you see people, what they're doing with the money. It's hard to not get bothered by it. So it's I don't know.
It's very hard because I get it. I get where people come from, because it seems one thing about the news, right? And this is the one thing that that really gets me about the news, because news is no longer news; it's entertainment. I think one of the biggest things that I've said that Reagan did, which now I disagree with a lot of what Reagan did, but I think his main mistake was getting rid of the fairness doctrine, because on the fairness doctrine, you had to show both sides of an issue. And you can only report what is actually news. Once you got rid of that, it was a free-for-all for entertainment. It's not just about, Fox or anything, or OAN or any of them too. CNN and MSNBC does this as well. They're all entertainment. You know what I'm saying? They're not actually giving you what the news is. which is why people have fallen away from cable news, all of it, and just listen to, podcasts. But unfortunately, on podcasts, they don't have to go through any rigorous research. You could just get any wacko on there to say anything, and that's how people get their news, unfortunately. So I do get where you're coming from. When you look at it online, when you look on the news, and you're like, these people are just, eating steak and lobster, and I could barely afford to keep a roof over my head. It's really, hard to not be annoyed by that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But
it bothers.
It bothers people. Yeah, exactly.
The news. Man, like.
Yeah, exactly. It bothers people. So what I always say though is that, number one, if this is a poor family and they eating steaks, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like they poor. Let them eat their steaks. But I would also say that we should be more upset on how the system is, actually is. We should be mad at the system, basically, not those people who are doing those things. We should be mad at the system that causes childcare to go up and we have no recourse. That causes, our health insurance to go up and we have no recourse. We should be mad at these AI companies that are cooking the planet, and our electricity bills are going up $200-$400 because these data centers wanna pollute the water in the projects. You know what I'm saying? That's what we should be getting upset at, because that's what's actually screwing us over. Not really, the mom with 5 kids.
Yeah, I hear you. I got one last question. I appreciate you taking my call. Was regarding, I keep reading about the housing crisis, whether that's in Canada, it's here in the United States, many big cities, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you probably read about it, heard about it. Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the toll of like immigration. I mean, even if it's millions of people, those are, that's, it has to play into the housing crisis we have right now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we have people living on the streets, who are citizens of the country, whereas people who are not citizens living in houses. I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, when it comes to that, right? Because that's something that also concerned me, which is why I was, I was always like kind of here and there on immigration, because I was like, we have a housing crisis. We need to start taking care of our people. You know what I mean? Because these folks coming in from out the country, like my parents are from outside the country, right? So that's why I've never had any big beef with them. But I've always said that, yeah, we should go ahead and help those folks out, but we need to make sure that we help our people out, because we have homeless vets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a vet, and when I see a homeless vet out there, it breaks my heart. Like, almost makes me want to. No, I appreciate you. Like, I almost cried that right now, because it's like, he's homeless and he's a vet. Like, he fought for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it kind of boils my blood. You see what I'm saying? But that's why I was always like, we need to take care of these people first, right? But one thing I also realized is that we have a lot of issues with like zoning laws. A lot of zoning laws in America where you can only have a single family unit in a certain zone. You can't have multi-family units. If we change some of those laws to have multi-family units, we'll be able to house more people, because more people are living in those apartment buildings, right? But the second thing that I saw is that a lot of these companies, such as, BlackRock and folks like that, they have a whole bunch of units that they bought up. They've bought up whole neighborhoods and just leave the houses empty in order to profit off the speculation and use the assets to buy even more and to leverage their mortgages. You see what I'm saying? So now, can immigration have an impact on that? Maybe, but it's negligible compared to zoning issues and basically corporate landlords. It's really negligible according to them, because we actually have 20 million empty homes in America just sitting there. But but like in LA, I think there are like 100,000 homeless people in LA, but 20 million empty homes across America. It's insane. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we actually can house these people. It just takes political will. It takes a lot to change zoning laws. It takes a lot to rein in corporate landlords and say, hey, you just can't hold these houses for 5 years on speculation and leveraging your mortgage in order for you to fill your pocket. You know what I mean? We gotta get people into homes. That's what we should do. Oh, there's also price hacking. Price hacking. Ooh, sorry about that. But Greg Weeks, just in my comments, he said that's price hacking as well. That was another thing. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go. I know it's a lot, but there's there's Real Pages. I think Real Pages was just sued by the federal government because of like a price hack that they did. What they did is that they went to renters, like basically, apartment buildings and stuff like that. What they will basically do, they'll put in an algorithm that makes it look like there are less units available than there are, and that would hike up the prices of the rent. You see what I'm saying? So if we're wondering why rent has doubled, tripled, or quadrupled over the past couple of years, that's why these price hacking places are doing all that. They're making it seem like there's less units than there actually are, and it pushes up all the rents. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's going on. We need to get or rein in all that, and then we can and then we actually should look at, do immigrants have an effect on this? I do think they may, but it's negligible compared to all the other things that I said. So we need to look at more of those. It's a systemic issue, if that makes sense. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think like for me, it's just kind of like I feel like I'm like the average kind of like American person looking out, and I'm like, I see like, if I see like an American, like, a veteran, a citizen, I'm like, man, that person should have a house. Instead, I'm not saying like an immigrant should be homeless, but it's like, if we're gonna choose between one or the other, it's just, it feels like that's the situation we're in right now, which is terrible to begin with. But I think I hear where you're coming from. It's just complicated, and there's so many factors to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate you taking my call, man. I really do.
Hey, not a problem. Not a problem. I appreciate you. Call in anytime.
Yeah. All right, take care.
Have a good night. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. I do think there was someone who called, but I might have missed their call. If you called and I missed you, I do apologize. So I'm sorry about that. If you called and I missed you, go ahead and call in again. It was a 317 number. Whoever that is in the 317 number, go ahead and call in again if you're still out there. Sorry that I missed you. I was on the phone with the other person. I don't have a line yet for people to call in. But yeah, so just how Greg said in my comments, it's manufactured inflation. It's basically what it is. Now, I understand the concern, right? Oh, that was you, Greg. I appreciate you calling in, Greg. I do understand the concern, right? I do understand the concern that, hey, there are 10, 15 million immigrants coming in. Are we able to house all of them? Where are they all going to live? I get that. That's a concern, right? A lot of leftists are going to be mad at me for saying that, but we have to call a spade a spade. A lot of people, ourselves included, we can't see past, next week. A lot of us are like that. A lot of us can't see past next week. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, and you learn to punch down, like how Agenda said. You learn to punch down. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. We need to understand. We need to meet people where they are. Meet people at their material conditions. You know what I'm saying? Meet people where they are, because, yeah, just like how he said, when he looks online on the news, he could barely keep a roof over his head, but these people who have carts and carts of food, and it's all from food stamps. You see what I'm saying? So, but that's a systemic problem. That's not a problem with the people who are poor. That's a problem with the system that made it like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we should look at, y'all. That's what we should be getting mad. That's what we should be pointing at. You feel me? That's what we need to come together on in order to. Oh, you didn't call. My bad, Greg. But that's what we should be looking at. You see what I'm saying? In order to improve our society, because it's pitting us against each other. Because, yeah, there are, the single mother with 5 kids with carts of food that you think that, they may or may not deserve. There's no reason for you to think they don't deserve that. They're just trying to feed their family. So who's out there pushing this image in front of you? Exactly. It's infighting. Who is out there pushing these images in front of you in order for you to be mad at the mom and not mad at the corporations who are not paying you what you deserve to be paid? You see what I'm saying? Who should you really be mad at? You feel me? Because the poor mom and dad trying to feed their kids, they're trying to feed their kids just like you. I mean, it's not really them. It's the fact that your company isn't unionized enough in order to pay you your wage. It's the fact that they even need to be on those food stamps. You see what I mean? Exactly. Our agenda. Elon Musk actually gets subsidies. The fossil fuel companies, they get subsidies. I mean, the oil industry gets subsidies. That's insane. The oil industry should not be getting subsidies. They make millions of dollars, Hey, no problem. All right, y'all. I do appreciate all you guys being here. Again, the number is up here. If you guys want to call in, have a discussion with me, we could definitely have a discussion. If you're over on my TikTok, you can go ahead and You can either call in if you can't do a guest request, or you can guest request and we could talk there. I did have my live going on Facebook, but unfortunately Facebook was causing this to unbuffer. Musk is the first trillionaire. That's a and you know once one of them break that ceiling, it's gonna be a flood of that. Musk is not gonna be the only trillionaire. Bezos is gonna be after him. Zuckerberg is gonna be after him. Who's the guy that owns like, you know, Versace and all of them? The French guy. He's gonna be the next one. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be the next one. All right. I just gotta read a comment. It says, the system you say is at fault. Is socialism at fault or no? Because without food stamps, everyone would take home money in their paychecks. Same with any tax. Well, the reason why food stamps exist in the first place is because we had people that were eating dog food. Yeah, I mean, there were people that were too poor to afford food. So that's the reason why we invented food stamps. So the entire reason why food stamps exist is not just because of, you know, just a brash socialism. Is because the system required us to have it. You know what I mean? So what should we do about it now? Since it's all means tested, people take advantage of it, et cetera, et cetera. What should we do about it now? We should just do UBI, in my opinion. Just give folks the money and they do whatever they want with it. You know what I mean? They buy, because what we've seen every single time over and over again is that people use the money to actually, you know, either buy food, take care of their family, take care of themselves, get better housing, get better jobs, et cetera, et cetera. 786 is a Florida area code. I'm from South Florida. That's what 786 is. All right, but yeah, you guys, go ahead and keep liking this live. I appreciate you all being here. Shout out to everyone over on the Deconstruction Junction. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to everybody on Volcy Thoughts watching me as well. Thank y'all so much. Resist, Base to Shara, I appreciate you being there. Scurry Away, I appreciate you being there. Yeah, Argentina did get subsidies, which is another crazy thing. They got subsidies. Oh, man. Yeah, so right now, yep, food stamps started in 61. So food stamps actually haven't been around for that long. Started in 61. All right, guys. So, again, I appreciate everybody being here. Let's go ahead and keep tapping that screen, keep getting those likes going. Let's get us to 10K likes within the next few minutes. Once again, it's really appreciated everybody who called in, everybody who made a guest request. If you would like to talk about what I have on the board, go ahead and please come on up. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. Yeah, so WGH Panic over on the Deconstruction Junction, I agree with that. With UBI, it will go straight to the person, no middleman. It'll go straight to the person, no middleman, nothing to worry about. All right, guys, keep pumping up those numbers. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and keep tapping that screen. Keep tapping that screen. If you would like to call in, the number's right there. If you disagree with what I have on the board, go ahead and definitely call in or make a guest request. And I appreciate you. All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and keep on waiting. We'll see if anybody would anybody else comes in. We'll see if anybody else comes in. If no one else comes in within the next few minutes, we'll go ahead and end it out for the night. And Uh, that'll be it. Am I buffering over on the deconstruction junction? I hope I'm not. All right, so looks like there's still a bit of a buffer over on deconstruction junction. That freaking sucks. Looks like I still have a bit of a buffer going on. Somewhere that's what food stands for, surplus food. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here soon. But once again, I appreciate everybody being here. I may go back to my phone for a while until I can figure out these buffering issues. All right, you got buffering going on? They got buffering going on. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do soon is I just gotta have to do it. I'm gonna have to start really going off my phone or just get a better sound card. To tell you the truth, I will probably get a better sound card because I hate that I have these I'm always having these buffering issues, which kind of sucks too because like this phone number thing. Yeah, I'm not buffering on TikTok, but over on YouTube I'm buffering. That's the sucky thing about it. Over on YouTube I'm buffering. Here on TikTok I'm not. Which sucks because like I want this phone number thing to exist, but I need to get more equipment. If I want to keep having a phone number up here, for people to call in. All right, guys. This is what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for now. Hopefully, can you just get for getting set up? Yeah, inbox me. Yeah, follow me, inbox me. Yeah. Go ahead and on DM me, inbox me. I'll let you know how to get set up. But yeah, I was using. What was I using? I was using OBS and StreamYard at the same Streamlabs at the not OBS. I'm sorry. I'm using OBS and TikTok Studio. Yeah, Kevin, this is on YouTube. It's on YouTube, so I'm doing good over here, right? I'm doing good over here. TikTok Studio is all good and well. It's really over on YouTube because for me to broadcast to YouTube, I use OBS, and it seems to buffer a lot, unfortunately. Okay, so it looks like it's pretty good now. Yeah, it's pretty good now. All right, so since it's good now, I think we're okay now. But I'm probably gonna need to get a new sound card, or I'll have to figure out how to get some equipment on this. All right, Edwin, go ahead and call in. All right, y'all. We're all at 10K likes, so I did reach the goal. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here in just a bit, because I think I ran out of. Let's see. Here's the thing. Every time I'm gonna get out of here, there's someone else always comments, and then I invite them up and wait for them to come up. Hey, Enrique, go ahead and come up. I sent you an invite, Enrique. Y'all see him, right? Enrique there in the comments talking about Chicago. Let's talk about Chicago, Enrique. Go ahead. Come on up. Oh, bad. You see how he won't come up. Freaking cowards, bro. Freaking cowards, yo. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait for I'm just wait for someone else to call in, and then I'll go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, and Enrique, if you're just gonna go ahead and talk shit in the comments, then shut your bitch ass up. Why does Brandon Johnson have? I have no idea who Brandon Johnson is, bro. Who's Brandon Johnson? Not sure why I would care either. But yeah, I have no idea who Brandon Johnson is. Great. I got a restriction, y'all. I got a restriction, y'all. They done restricted me. They done restricted me. Yeah. Yeah. Wild, ain't it? I got restricted for bullying. Craziness. I got restricted for bullying, y'all. So crazy this, y'all. I got a restriction for bullying. But it always happens. That always happens. Someone always reports. Probably because I told someone to shut up, so someone probably reported me. Oh, bad. All right, so I was just waiting for someone to call in. But if no one calls in the next couple of minutes, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. And I just got to figure out what this, what are we children for real to here? It's like, folks are children, man. Like, y'all some jits for real, man. Y'all some jits. But all right. So what I'm gonna do is, these last 2 nights I've been having these buffer issues. So I'm gonna go back to just using my phone. Hopefully I could get a get people to hear each other. I'm gonna see if I can use a
Call from Sarah.
How's it going? Talk to me. Can I have your age, and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
I don't disagree. I have some other points to add, and I am more than 18, way more than 18.
All right, sure.
Okay, I've muted you. So the things that bother me when I hear people calling in and they're saying stuff like, what about these poor people getting food stamps? What they aren't realizing is the actual corporations are taking advantage of the U.S. taxpayers by not paying a living wage, what they can afford to do. And when they are given subsidies, they actually just reinvest that in themselves, and then the upper CEOs and the upper people in the corporations make that money. They don't do a trickle down like as if the government says it they do. Mm-hmm. That's not what's happening. And as we talk about corporate welfare and we demonize the poor, instead of blaming the corporations for not paying a living wage when they're perfectly capable, not giving us medical benefits and stuff, they have some scapegoat to attack. They've privatized prisons and foster care and all these other things, and they want to privatize all the hospitals and everything like that. And when they privatize that, that means a corporation is going to make the money. It doesn't mean that it's going to be cheaper for the U.S. consumers. And what has happened is the elite, the oligarchs, and the corporations have gaslit the American people to believe that the poor people are the problem when it's the rich.
Yeah,
That's
you are
what
correct.
I wanted to say.
You are correct, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Based. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And y'all, I really do want to keep the call-ins going. W guest in the chat. I do want to definitely keep the call-ins going. Is just that if I have this buffer issue, I'm not sure how long I could keep it going. I'll probably do it just over this weekend and see if I could what I can do about it. All right, here's another call.
Call from
Kevin.
What up? What's going on? Talk to me.
Nothing much, man. I know you had. I saw you trying to run up out of there, so I had to come in there and give you some knowledge, brother.
All right, I appreciate you. Can I have your name and age, please?
This is Kevin, and I'm in my 40s.
Kevin in your 40s.
I
Kevin,
feel bad when y'all ask the age. I don't know why. I guess I shouldn't feel bad about being 40, but I'm 47, dog. I feel like I'm so old. It's crazy, dog.
nah, man.
But anyways, I got some knowledge for you. What's up?
Gotcha. I was gonna say if you disagree with what I had on the board, but yeah, go ahead. Give us some knowledge.
You know what? I didn't really see what was on the board. I came across your channel. It's the second time I spoke, and I was calling when a girl was talking. She was basically trying to demonize rich people and corporations and stuff. But you know, without rich people and corporations, we wouldn't be America. So it is what it is. Without Rockefellers and Chases and Morgans, it is what it is. You know, we wouldn't be in the state that we're in. We wouldn't be with America, the world wouldn't be America without those millionaires and trillionaires in business or oligarchs and whatnot.
Right, but did those people did do things that caused damage to the average American?
You know, you have to take the pros with the cons because the average American is experiencing benefits that not other people have in the world, like our economy, our lifestyle, our progress. You know, I mean, somebody built these skyscrapers or whatever, and it took a lot of people with a lot of money and power to do these things. So you do have to sacrifice some of the people. I don't know how you would say this, but you understand, and nothing comes for free, and the sacrifice does come at the debt of the laborer who does the labor, while the person that I guess develops it gets more of the benefit of it all. But at the end of the day, the human society in America benefits from it as a whole.
Okay,
because that's something that we have as society.
Okay. So when you say that we benefit as a whole, so you gotta crack a couple of eggs to make an omelet, right? Like, yeah. So when you say
not cracking eggs, it's just people working for what we got. We work for what we have.
You're right. Of course, we work for what we have. What I'm saying is that when we have like oligarchs, people who can exert their massive financial wealth in order to benefit themselves through government policies at the expense of people, that really doesn't benefit everybody, does it?
No.
Right, exactly. So that's the issue
Okay.
Right. So that's the issue that we're having with not only the robber baron age, which is why antitrust laws came up in the first place, right? Because the robber barons, they were, hey, what's going on, Taharka? The robber barons, the people from that time, the Rockefellers and people like that, they were using their wealth in order to influence government, to pass policies that will allow them to abuse their workers, allow them to pollute, allow them to do a lot of things that were negative towards the average citizen. And we're seeing that again still today, where
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So lobbyists, though, not the people the lobbyists do it. The people you don't know about do it.
Yeah,
more than the people that are more exposed.
Yeah,
you won't know. Elon's not cutting no deals because Elon's too visible. People would find out about it. That CEO who got shot, he wasn't cutting no deals. His lobbyists got shot. I mean, lobbyists are the one cutting. The lobbyists write the damn laws from these congressmen anyway.
Right,
in the House.
Right. So
these House representatives don't know how to write laws and bills.
Yeah. The lobbyists are the ones who go and talk to representatives, right? But who are they lobbying on behalf of? Who on what agenda they're doing when they pass? Exactly.
This has never changed.
Exactly. So when we say that Bill, not Bill, when we say people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk are not cutting deals, they are. It's just that they send someone else to do it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been done since the beginning of time, more or less.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what you have to do? You have to blame the politician who pushes them. And it's a lot of, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna throw the blue, but I'm gonna say the red does it too. But I just follow the blue more. But they did it. Even like with stuff like these, like them stoves and water things. These are legislation, stupid shit that gets done by propane companies and whoever makes stoves or what. I don't know who did it, but it was some bullshit. And they passed these laws and they fight for them so hard on behalf of these companies, and they throw them on us. And it's some bullshit.
Right. Again, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Okay, so this is something that's not uncommon.
Right. No.
But now let me tell you now.
It's not uncommon.
I want to get where you're going to.
Yeah. It's not uncommon.
I want to get where you're going to. You're trying to say that the oligarchy is bad, and I agree with you to an extent that once we get to a point of monopolizing certain industries where there's no more room to growth, it's going to self-implode. And we're getting there right now where, the whole world is run by like 5 companies. Let's keep it real. Ain't nobody's going to have that type of success and opportunity that, was once available when there weren't as many monopolies. But I don't know what happened to the monopoly law. There should be some shit going on, but all these companies are now buying each other and getting to the point where there won't be, the capitalism will basically, won't be no more because there won't be competition to grow capitalism.
Right, exactly. So these are the all the issues that we're dealing with. So we should hit all these things with antitrust, right? So like you said, the caller before, you wanted to, you were kind of getting on them for, you know, demonizing all the rich people, but do you understand that because these rich folks, these oligarchs who sit on top of us, they're the ones who you know, cause a lot of these issues, right?
Yeah, but they made America America too. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. It's a pro and a con. It's a whatever it is. You know what I mean? If we have socialism, for example, there won't be innovation because nobody. Well, I don't know. There will be, of course, but you know what I mean? It'll be slower versus the capitalism of innovation through the competition. You understand the pros and cons of each, right?
Right. I mean, the thing is, I disagree with that notion completely. I don't agree that it was the billionaires who made America America. What made America America was innovation and racism. But it was innovation
and
and
racism.
and racism. But it was just basic.
Fucking a little racism.
Yeah, it was,
Can't have America without racism. Come on, keep it real.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't have America without racism. So that's what made America America. It wasn't really the billionaires. They just took advantage at the right time.
Well, they had the vision. You know, the Rockefellers, who made all those skyscrapers. These guys had visions to make something more of. And now, don't get me wrong, they use people to carry out their vision. I mean, but that's what leaders do throughout time. I mean, they don't do everything themselves. They delegate rather. But again, I would never knock someone for being successful. And I don't like the way I heard somebody saying about the trickle down or something. Trickle down would work if people weren't so greedy. And they helped, and they did it. Like what Donald Trump is doing is our only chance for success here in America with what the situation we're in.
What's he
the debt
doing?
we're paying. Well, what he's trying to do is make us work here and stop spending so much money. In other words, like, I know, you know, the tax increase, the tax cuts people complain about, but in theory, these tax cuts are supposed to allow these employers to either pay more money, grow their business, and have more innovation. In theory, this is how it's supposed to work. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it
does
doesn't
always
happen.
work in theory? No.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
It does and it doesn't, because some people do use this because, for example, if I get money to start a business because of my tax cuts, that's just a new business I started.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I might be able to hire 5 or 10 people.
Right. It like that in theory, that's how it's supposed to happen, right? But it just doesn't. That's not the way it works.
It doesn't. It doesn't happen as enough as it needs to. But I believe Trump did put his faith on the American people to do this shit, to do it the right way and build us. Because again, we're a lot in debt. We $1 trillion a year in debt alone. We spend more money on the debt interest.
Right.
Than we do almost on anything else.
Right. Understood. But Trump is not doing anything to stop that. Just cutting taxes doesn't.
What do you mean? You don't think the tariffs are collecting money?
Yeah, the tariffs collect money, but trade deficits and tariffs have nothing to do with our debt. Those are two different things.
Of course, the money goes right to the national treasury, dude. What are you talking about?
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that tariffs and our national debt are like our trade deficits and our national debt are two different things. Like they have nothing to do with
trade
each other.
deficit and national debt are two different things. Yes.
Right. They have nothing to do with each other.
No. Now our tariffs and our trade debt. I don't think because trade debt is how much we trade versus how much we trade them versus what we trade ours.
So it's
now,
about yes, exactly.
Nothing to do with that because we collect money on every tariff that comes into the country. But
Right.
our trade deficit is like either they give us more or we give them more. I don't know which one it works.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that works. So they have nothing to really
But that
do
doesn't
with
have
each
anything to do
other.
with the treasury. The money that we collect from tariffs go directly to the treasury. We collect billions. I don't know how much, and you never know really because they just make up whatever they say. But I'm sure they collected. They collected even $500 billion, $500 billion, right?
Yeah, that's the money that we paid, bro.
Huh?
That's the money that we paid. The consumers are paying that.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But guess what?
Oh.
We got this debt that we're in, and in my opinion, it's a national security risk, honestly, because if shit start popping off and security start going and the bond and our shit starts flopping and shit, I mean, it could be downfall of America.
Who's gonna call in the debt? Because if someone calls in America's debt, like the entire world economy will get fucked up.
I get it.
Yeah, the world economy runs on the
but
dollar.
we don't need
so
to be in
they
that situation.
It's not gonna
I
happen.
don't want to be
It's
like 45 trillion in debt in the next. I think we would have been about 45 trillion in debt had Kamala Harris stayed in office.
We wouldn't be, bro. Like the debt will continue. We're still in debt under under Trump. We're running on a deficit.
Yeah,
We're
but the
running on
deficit's
yearly
running
deficits.
I think the deficit might be. Well, I don't know yet. We have to see. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think the deficit is going to run a little bit less this year than what we were running over the last 4 years.
I doubt it.
For sure, over the last 4 years. That's what I've been questioning.
Yeah, if it does, it's going to be due to the tariffs that we paid. So basically, raising taxes works. That's all this shows. You have to raise taxes.
It's not, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. That you want to call this tariff a tax, and
It's
I
a
understand
tax.
why you want to call it that.
That's literally what tariffs are. They're literally taxes. Like,
yes,
it's not.
yes, it's a tax. I get it. It's a tax because it's coming into our country. It's a port tax. It's not a charge to the consumer. It's a charge to bring it into the country.
Yeah, it's a
You
port
understand,
tax.
right?
It's a tax. Yeah, exactly.
So
So
it's not charging us. The tariff doesn't charge us. The store charges us, right?
yeah, the store charges us because they have to pay for the tariff. Like the prices of everything goes
Well,
up.
no, we don't have to pay for the tariff. The store has to pay for the tariff to get the shit.
Right, and they
It's
have
different.
to, and in order for them to go ahead and make their money back and make the profit, they have to charge us more.
No,
Yeah.
they don't. Well, again, we don't get charged a tariff. They get charged a tariff, right? Yes
They
or
get
no?
charged a tariff, and we pay through a
All right,
higher.
there we
a
go.
higher-
There we go.
Right, hold on,
We
wait,
don't pay the
hold on,
tariff.
hold on, no, listen. I know that we don't directly get charged a tariff. We get charged it indirectly because they raise their price in order to cover the tariff. That's always what's happened. That's how it works, right? But all this
So you
shows.
think we're paying 25% more?
Yeah, but all this would
So you
show.
think we're paying the whole amount of it? You think that everything's jumped 25% in the consumer market?
Of
due
course
to the
not
tariff?
everything jumped 25% at one time. That's not how that works. But what I'm saying is that they're not gonna raise the price of every single one of their product, but prices do go up in order for the tariff to get paid for. That always happens. They pass
So say
the
there
price
was a
off to
$100
consumers.
product, a $100 Walkman, tariff 25%. We were selling that Walkman. Okay, we're selling that Walkman for $150, right? In the Best Buy, it costs $100 to get over here. Now it's costing $125. What do you think they're going to sell that Walkman for?
Wait, what?
They were selling Walkman for $150
Mm-hmm.
because it costs $100 to get over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to cost $125 to get over here. What will they now sell the Walkman for?
Probably 160. It'll go up gradually.
A little bit more, right? Okay, but we're not going to pay that whole $25, right?
Right, but
they're going to eat a little bit, and
my
then
point is,
and also
my point is
the thing.
is in order to pay the tariff, they're gonna pass it off to us. That always happens, which is why every economist from left to right does not like tariffs. At least not blanket tariffs on everything. There needs to be tariffs on a few things, like for things that
Well, it
are.
is. They're
Hold on, wait, hold on.
itemized.
Let me finish.
Huh?
There do needs to be tariffs for a certain country. Like if a country can only sell mangoes, of course they're gonna tariff mangoes, right? Because they need to protect their industry. Same thing with America. There are some things we need to have a tariff on in order to protect that industry, right? That happens to every single country. But putting a tariff blanketly on every single thing is what's ridiculous. Like just having a blanket tariff on whatever you're gonna import on a certain country is going to have negative effects, because what Trump is trying to do, he's trying to quote unquote bring manufacturing back to America, but we don't have the what was that thing called again? The supply chain. There we go. We don't have the supply chain for what he wants to do, and we need to import some things anyway because they're just not naturally made here in the United States. You see what I'm saying? So if you just put these tariffs on everything, sure, you can rebuild whatever factory he wants to rebuild, but it's gonna take 15 to 20 years. What happens in the meantime?
Let me ask you this: if we was just slapping on blanket tariffs, how fast do you think that would take? That would be like, it would have been done in those like 30 days, 30 deals in 30 days. Yeah, like 90 deals, 90 days. If you just did that, these tariffs are very individualized. It's so funny when people start talking about tariffs like they're in international trade deals. Like they can really, these things have so much fine print and so many nuances and so many different speculations. It's no blanket, nothing.
But that's exactly what he did.
He says blanket maybe just to say it so people can understand the shit, but it's nothing blanket. You know that. These tariff deals are probably fucking 100,000 pages long. All types of speculation, regulations, and rules.
No, he just put on an executive order. That's literally what he did. What you got to understand. Hold on. What you got to understand is that Trump is not smart. All right, he
I
doesn't.
think he's smart. I disagree, but go ahead.
No, he's a fucking moron. He does not
He made
think.
millions, he made
Hold on,
billions of
listen, hold
dollars.
on, wait,
It's an
listen,
international
hold on,
real estate company.
bro, listen,
Go ahead.
listen.
Can't deny it, man.
When Trump raised the tariffs, he did not go and write legislation, not legislation, but he didn't go and write deals, et cetera, and have asterisks here and there, and have provisions here and there. That's not what he did. He just says this country is going to be have a 90% tariff now. That's exactly what he did. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's not one of these huge genius business guys. That's not the type of guy he is.
He keeps it simple on the TV, but trust me, this guy is calculated. This guy, you can't be as successful as he has been in his life.
He's not
And
successful.
not be
He's
calculating and watching the dimes and the pennies.
He's
Trust
not
and
really.
believe.
He's not.
He makes it.
Bro, this is a guy who bankrupted a casino. How many times does it have to fail in order for
A
people
lot
to
of casinos
understand?
were going to bring up back then.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. Trust and
No, they
believe.
weren't.
It was a bad year.
This is
You don't know because
why
you're not old enough to know. But go ahead.
this is why Trump was called one of the most horrible businessmen, because he literally bankrupted a business that gives you money. You see what I'm saying? So it's
How many people can even open a casino?
not a lot, because it takes a lot to open a casino.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That alone, that seed alone, even if it failed, even in school, people say that shit. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. That shit was an okie doke. He never told them it was a credit. Them people got conned and they got the sympathy plea.
So
He opened up a college. It wasn't actually that wasn't a
hold
college.
on,
That was
hold
not
on.
a college.
Yeah, it wasn't a college. It was a con. So
It wasn't a college. It wasn't a college. But them people. And he never said it was a college. But anyways, that's not the point. I'm going to say about that. I'm going to say the one deal though.
He literally called it Trump.
casino.
He literally called it Trump University. So he's a con man.
man.
You're
It's called
admitting
milk
that he's
chocolate, milk chocolate.
so you're admitting that he's a con man.
It's not a common. That's a business. That's business. That's marketing. Okay. And I'm sure
No,
every
it's not. It
stipulation
wasn't.
that
It
told
wasn't. It
Listen
wasn't
to
an
me.
actual school.
I worked in admissions. I sold a real university from Kaplan. I worked for UEI Career College. The admissions process and the explanations are the declarations. When you talk about admissions, you have to be very clear. And I'm 100% sure that they let everybody know this is not a accredited school. I guarantee they did.
Right. Hold on. When it comes to the these schools, right? That's what actually was one of the issues with those private schools, because they weren't being. A lot of these students were not being told that the school is not accredited. That was one of the issues.
There was something there. 100% they were there. They had to be told that.
How do you know that?
Something was there.
Bro, why do you think? Hold on. Stop. Hold on. Wait. Chill. Why do you want to give this person? Why do you want to give this guy so much benefit of the doubt? He was a con man, bro.
Again, he marketed it that way, and I don't believe in any. Besides it say now, he can say it's grimy because it said Trump University. You're absolutely right. It's grimy, right? It says Trump University, but I'm 100% sure that somewhere along the line and somewhere in his enrollment package, they said that shit. 100%.
Why do you believe that? There's no law that required them to do that. So why would you believe
they do, man. I worked in colleges. That's what I'm telling you.
Right, but
that's
hold
a
on.
big deal.
That was one of the big issues with all these private colleges, because they were not required to tell their students that they're not accredited. That was one of the big issues, because
they
the
were
students
losing their accreditations. A lot of them were losing.
Yeah,
them.
a lot of them were.
There's a lot of different stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of them were losing them. A lot of them were not accredited at all. And Trump's university was definitely not accredited. Didn't even try to get accredited.
I know it wasn't.
So exactly.
But you know,
so that was the issue.
If you know about school, you know there's
right.
You can't
Hold
just
on.
fake that shit.
All right. I got you. I understand that. What I'm saying is that this is part of the con. He presents himself. Hold on. He presents himself as some sort of authority. He presents himself as some sort of person that's going to be helping you out, and it's not. It's a con.
I mean, he's not a big man in industry and real estate. He lied.
Well, no, he's big in real estate. No one's denying that Trump made money. No one's denying that, but he did that through leveraging debt and being a con man.
So he's dumb. So that's dumb.
Yeah,
that's dumb. No, it's not dumb. That's smart as hell. No, it takes a real smart person to take money that you owe and make money off it. Because I don't even know how to do that shit. That's grimy, right? Think about it. You know how to take money that you owe. You're money in debt, and you make more money off the money that you owe.
Yeah.
That's some gangster shit. That's smart as hell to me.
That's not smart, man. You could do that.
Then.
Do you own a house right now?
No.
All right. If you ever to own a house, you can use that.
Okay, I don't need the concept of it, but the point is, I'm trying to say, not the average motherfucker know how to do that. Excuse my language. I hope I'm allowed to.
Right. A lot of times, the average person doesn't know how to do that, but it's pretty simple to leverage your debt.
Well, you got to know economy. You got to be smart. Let's keep it real. You got to be smart. So anybody, I hate when people say he's stupid. It's just stupid to say that. The man used to own a football team. You know that?
That doesn't make him smart. Just because someone is rich does not mean they're smart. Paris Hilton is a billionaire. He's a fucking idiot.
To stay rich means you're smart.
No,
if he was dumb, he'd lost all that money.
And
Been broke.
He's been bailed out by that, which is why he was investigated for his ties to Russia, because he's been bailed out by those oligarchs before.
It seems like they didn't bail him out because it was Russia all for nothing. But whatever, if you want to keep believing it. But again, all right, whatever. If you want to think he's stupid, go right ahead. I'm sure he's smarter both of us put together. Man's been in business for his whole life, doing shit. Okay, all right, man. You know what I mean?
Have you ever seen this?
You know what? You know about
seen this guy talk? He's one of those. He's not smart.
I've heard him talk for the last 30 years.
Yeah, like he's not smart.
Oh, yes.
He clearly
I don't know
has
why
issues.
everybody thinks he's stupid. Now he's all stupid since the last, I guess, when he started running for president. He was the smartest man everybody loved. I watched so much shit.
No, y'all thought he was the smartest man everybody ever
loved.
loved. He was always an idiot. We always knew he was stupid.
They all liked him, though, it seemed like. Especially in New York, too. That make it even worse.
Yeah, ever since The Apprentice, I knew this guy was an idiot. I was like, oh, Trump's
I never watched the episode of Apprentice. You know that?
Yeah, I've seen the episodes of it. I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty stupid. Trump doesn't know what he's doing.
But I have seen something that nobody else seen. It was he had a show on the Golf Channel. It was like a Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, but it was a Trump. It ran for like maybe a season and a half, and they cut it. You can't find it nowhere. They locked that whole friggin', I guess, NBC or whoever else had it. You won't find it. But he had Lawrence Taylor and Jerry Rice playing against each other.
Okay, we can talk about this for hours, bro. Where we going?
Anyway.
Our
I'm
leftist
saying, the
policy
man
is
is
better
not
for
dumb.
society.
The man is successful, and the man is trying his best to work this country like a business to save it.
All right, but a country doesn't work that way, bro. Country doesn't work that way. Countries don't work as businesses. Governments and business are not the same thing. Because governments are not run for profit, bro. That's not how that works.
We have an executive that has to run it in an executive manner. We can't have fraud.
They have an executive branch, but that doesn't mean they have CEOs and shit like that. That's not how governments work. What I'm saying is that governments and businesses don't operate the same way. Businesses are ran for profit. Governments are ran for services towards their community. They're not ran for profit.
What do you think the main differences in leadership would be between a business and a CEO? I mean, a politician and a vice president.
A politician works for the constituents of their constituents. A CEO works for their shareholders, meaning the people who are giving him money. Those are and he's supposed to make a profit for his shareholders, meaning.
So you think there's a really big difference in politicians and CEOs?
Yes, the main difference is that if the CEO every single time is judged by how much profit they make their shareholders. So if a CEO sees that if I pollute an area, even though 50 people will die if I make this pollution, but I'll also make $50 million for my shareholders, I'm going to pollute that area even though 50 people will die from it. A politician cannot do that because they'll either get voted out or they get arrested for it. A CEO can do that.
Well, they just sell it differently. I mean, it's just a different way to do it. But let's keep it real. They all pretty grimy. It's the American way.
They're grimy. We know that. We know that they're grimy. We know they're grimy. But the difference is that what I'm saying is that politicians are supposed to be working for their people. Now, yes, of course now we have lobbying and everything like that and dark money, and they work for their special interest groups. Yeah, that's a problem. I'm not going to deny you there. But the basic fact of a CEO and a business person is that they work in order to make profit for their shareholder. That's not the function of a politician. The function of a politician is not to make more money.
Do you think Trump likes America?
Does he like America? No, I don't think
he really
loves
this. Do you think he respects America like he loves his Trump Tower or some shit like that, or one of his favorite golf courses?
No, he loves it. He loves himself, and he loves the fact that people are giving him attention. That's what he loves.
He definitely likes that, but you don't think the better he makes America, the more attention he's getting? You don't think that in the back of his mind, he's like, man, I'm gonna make this shit work, and it's gonna be, and everybody gonna know because I did it. You don't think he gets off on that type of shit?
No, I think he gets off on the fact that people glaze him. That's what he gets off of.
Trump will do good, and he wants to be successful for this country. He wants to just to say he did it.
He's not doing it for the country, bro. He's not doing it for the country. He's doing it because he wants to get glazed. He's a narcissist.
He's getting glazed. He could get glazed all day anyway. He was getting glazed when he was the president.
Right, but now he's in the most powerful position on the planet.
But the only way he can get glazed now is if he's successful. He will be hated, which he still is, by some stupid people. But I think he's smart enough to know they're just stupid.
But they're not stupid. He's doing a lot of
even more.
He's doing things that screwed up a lot of the country. Look how badly the economy did when he announced the tariffs. It sunk.
I don't know. It didn't do that bad. I live in California, so it's fucked up over here regardless. Don't get me started.
Yeah, and I live in Florida. We're the most expensive states ever.
Is it bad in Florida? What part of Florida? North Florida or South Florida? You're South Florida or North Florida?
I live in Central. It's just as bad as South.
North Florida. No, it ain't South Florida. South Florida is different than anything other than Florida. You know that.
No,
I'm from Broward County.
South Florida is pretty.
I'm from Broward County.
I'm from Dade. So yeah, South Florida is pretty.
Say, okay, now those are expensive. Both of those little blues, and that's the blue shit. You go up there north, it's probably not expensive, and probably a much better place. Gas is probably cheaper too.
I'm in Central Florida. It's still expensive up here, bro. As a matter of fact,
Florida's getting expensive because everybody's leaving these blue states and going down there. I might be moving back.
My aunt lives in North Florida, and she told me it's expensive up there too. The entire state is getting expensive, bro. What I'm saying is that like Dade is not even blue anymore. Dade is red, and Dade has always been
everybody's
expensive.
moving here and that's why it's getting expensive.
No, yeah, Miami has always been pretty expensive, but it's gotten more expensive because all the crypto bros and OnlyFans models moved down there.
It sucks anyways. I don't want to live in Miami, but it sucks if Central Florida and Kissimmee and all that stuff. Because I was going to buy some property up in Pensacola or Jacksonville.
Here.
I'm a Marine, huh?
It's expensive here. That's where I live.
I'm going to buy some land and build, man, because I'm a Marine vet. So I have my military. I still haven't used my homeowner thing.
Me neither.
But I've spent so much money. I've lost so much money living here in California. I mean, I lose money every month. Yeah, I go in debt every month.
Yeah, I haven't used my VA loan either. I only use my GI Bill. I haven't used my VA loan yet. But
what branch were you in? Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I was in Air Force.
Air Force? Mm-hmm. When did you get out?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, so okay, cool. I'm old, man. I'm 47 years old. I've been out for over 20 years. Well, why you going 20 years? But anyways, hey man, good talking to you. But all I say is, man, you really gotta not be so. I don't want to say, but that's your channel. I guess it is what it is. Y'all have to do it, be that way. But for anybody to say that Trump doesn't do anything right is crazy, and anybody that says Trump doesn't do anything wrong is also crazy. I mean, you just got to be kind of open-minded to there's good and bad in every situation, and I understand that's not how it works on the divisiveness of America conversation these days. And I never understood. I remember when it happened, but I never understood why it happened. I remember when this type of shit happened, but never understood why.
It happened because Obama got elected, and people weren't used to a black man being in that type of position.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He was a little more decisive than he needed to be, considering he's half fucking white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But all right, bro.
Stupid. Yeah, take care.
Sure. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for real. Now I'm going to get out of here for real. I'm kind of exhausted. But I do appreciate you guys being here. I do apologize for the buffering issues. I promise you I'm going to get that done. I'm going to get that fixed one day. I'm going to see what I can do in order for us to not keep buffering. All right? I'm going to see what I can do about that. I may need to go back to my phone. Using my phone for a while, but if I do have my phone, there's not gonna be a call-in number. That's the only thing that sucks about that. And if there's no, since we can't get a call-in number, you know what I mean, we'll see what we can do about that. But here's what I will say: I do appreciate you all being here. I do appreciate y'all for being with me tonight. Thank you to Trust But Verify for the raid. I appreciate the raid from Trust But Verify. Appreciate everybody over on the Deconstruction Junction. Y'all are amazing. Y'all was able to get me to a good amount of views. I appreciate everybody who watched me on the Volcy Thoughts channel. Y'all amazing. Y'all are able to get me to a good amount of views. If you're watching me on Twitch, I appreciate you there as well. I love you all. Please remember to be safe out there. New Year's is coming, so we know how it goes on New Year, y'all. Be safe out there. Don't get too drunk, and just make sure that you drive safe, you drink safe, and be with family. All right. Some people, family, are not gonna be around for long. The reason why I didn't stream last week is because I went to go see my cousin, and my cousin right now is not doing well, and unfortunately, she's in hospice at the moment. So that's the reason I didn't stream last week. All right, because I went to go see my cousin. And unfortunately, I don't know if she's going to survive to the new year. All right. So if that does happen in the next couple of weeks, y'all will know about it. And I'll let y'all know that I'm not streaming for that week because of that. All right. So that's the reason I wasn't here last week. And it's tough. It's tough. So hug everybody. All right. Hug everybody, because the person that you saw born, you can see the end of their life. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm going through right now, because I'm in my late 30s. I'm 38, and she's 30 years old. She was born when I was 8 years old. So I held her when I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? When I was 12 years old, I babysat for her. When I was 16, I gave her advice in middle school. And when I was 20, I gave her advice through high school. And now that I'm in my late 30s, she's going to be gone before me. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's tough to deal with. So in this new year, if you got any beef with any of your family members, you don't know when they're going to be gone, man. Like, don't go to sleep. Don't let the sun go down without resolving that beef. Don't let the year go by without resolving that, because you never know when you're going to lose somebody. You know what I mean? Me and her never had beef. We was really close. She was my little sister. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, every time she came around, I would introduce her as my little sister. That's how close we were. So she may not make it to the new year. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's kind of tough to deal with. But just always make sure that, you hug your family. Hug your family always, because you just never know. You just never know. But that's what I'm going to go ahead and leave it off at. That's what I'm going to go ahead and leave it off at. And y'all's go ahead and have a good night. I appreciate y'all. Remember to be smart, observant, fallible, and thoughtful. All right? Love you all. Peace.